Alright, y'all. Welcome back to my channel, TJ Animations. You can probably tell by the title. Hopefully, I made it something good. We're gonna be doing something a little bit differently today, and we're gonna be teaching everybody how to make their own Beyblade 3D animations. First of all, maybe it's obvious, maybe it's not. You need a 3D animation software. Today we're using Blender. You can get it free download on most computers. Just to start off, yeah, I mean, you're gonna need Beyblade 3D models. You can probably find them on Sketchfab or Tinkercad for free download, or you can make your own. Sometimes that's fun. Today we're just using two Beyblade X models. I honestly forget what the Beyblades names are. My Beyblade knowledge is not what it used to be. Also, I want to state before this video begins, I'm kind of an idiot at Blender. I've only been using it for like a month. There's a lot better animators than me. This is just a really basic tutorial on how to do what's on my channel so you can make it for yourself. So we have the Beyblades in the background. I'm going to be using a pretty simple background, just the white planes. You can get a lot fancier than this, obviously. Just for the sake of this video, basic tutorial, we're going to go with a plain white background, just plain white planes. So first of all, we're going to want our Beyblades positioned where they need to be. And the first thing I do is I pin the Z axis just to make sure that while I'm trying to move and drag the Beyblades, they don't go under the object that's meant to be the surface. I'm sure there was a better way to explain that, but that's all I got. And you basically just do that by pressing the lock button on location Z. So, okay, also some basics. There's a pop-up menu in your right, which is gonna show you your animation in every form. The first one just shows you your vertexes. Your second one's gonna show you it, but without the color shading you've added. The next one's gonna show you it in shading, and then the last one's gonna show you your render. So you can switch on those just to make sure your render is gonna be looking alright. Now, fortunately, we do get to get into some of the more fun parts. Again, there's probably easier way to do this, but I manually rotate my Beyblades from the first frame to the very last frame. I think I chose like 20,000 or 15,000 for just the degrees that it's going to be turning. Obviously, well, I hope it's obvious. However many degrees it turns is going to determine the speed they're turning. So if you go lower, it's going to look like they're turning pretty slow. If you go on more degrees, it's going to look like they're like spinning very fast. I feel like we want to keep it somewhere in the middle. If we're using motion blur and you make it too fast, it's going to look pretty bad. If you're making it too slow, it's just not going to look great. I feel like that's obvious. Maybe not, maybe not. I've definitely had some very fraudulent animations in my past, but I think I'm getting better. Moving forward on the fun part is the action. You get to determine everything that happens. So to do this, basically, now because our Beyblades are already spinning, and we already have that spin, you can literally just position them where you want them to clash. And what I've noticed is very important is whenever the Beyblades clash, make sure they go into each other pretty slowly. Then you're going to want to spread them out after the hit super fast just to add impact to the collision. When I say super fast here, I mean about in like 5, probably they meet in like 10 frames and they go pizzow. Wow, that's a terrible word. They spread out in like 5 frames, right? Then if we're spinning them, that might happen in like 10 frames. If we want to make it look like all of a sudden they're spinning super fast, that's going to happen in about 5 frames. But obviously, what's the word? It's all relative. Maybe fast for you is going to be 1 frame, but just remember, especially if you have your motion blur on, it'll be really hard to capture that movement that quickly, and instead of looking super intense, it might just end up looking really bad. If you haven't noticed by now, the majority of this video will be sped up because I feel like it's not really important. I will put this part in regular speed. Here I'm turning the whole Beyblade. To do this, it's important that your mode is in X, Z, Y. That way you can tilt well, I really don't even know how to explain it. You can tilt on axis to flip the Beyblade. You can't do that in the other modes. And so yeah, I mean, I think flip is pretty cool. Something that would happen in a Beyblade battle. There we go. It's kind of a tongue twister. And yeah, I just wanted to add a flip in there, so we put it in that mode. Well, once you have all your movements tracked down and you have all your general places you want your Beyblades to be, this is when you start doing your camera work. For me, the camera work is the most fun part. It's where you make or break your Beyblade animation. It doesn't matter how good your animation is or how bad it is. If your camera work sucks, it'll look terrible. If your camera work is amazing, it just might look good. I'm not the best with the camera, but I think I'm alright. You know what I mean? And so here is that process. I'm gonna put it in fast motion, but not so fast that you can't tell what's happening. Once you have meticulously plotted your camera and you know where everything is gonna be and how it's gonna look, we get to the last part, which is just placing our light. Yeah, you're gonna want to turn on the render viewpoint just to make sure this is how your animation is gonna look. I like to turn on motion blur and screen what's it called, screen scatter reflection or something, just to kind of bring out the metal in the Beyblades. And the shadow is a must if we're going for realism. But yeah, I mean, kind of an important part, kind of an easy part, I think. But if you have questions about this part, ask me. Maybe I'll make a different video on how to animate in Blender for Idiots on a different channel. Just to be clear, you're not the idiots, I am. But in a moment here, we'll pop this in. We'll have to make sure we have it set to a folder, whatever folder we want it to save to. Then we're gonna get our render, so let's see how it looks. And okay, I think it turned out alright. Maybe it could have been better. Maybe I'll do a part 2 if people want it, and maybe I can explain more into depth, and maybe I can do an animation tutorial on the drawings. But that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching.